Hi, and welcome to a tutorial about tasks. In this fundamentals, let's talk about how tasks work, what tasks are, and in general, how do you create and edit and update tasks which already exist. So first thing you really need to know is that this is super important. Everything in PolyApp is a task. This includes the home page, like the change data page. It includes all of the places you're going to be doing all of your work. It includes all of the administration pages. It includes all of the utility pages. Everything's a task. And fundamentally, a task, from most people's perspective, is just a form. And they're completely correct. It's a form. But it also has some additional features. Under the hood, the task actually has three different parts, one of which is confusingly called a task, another one's called a schema, and the other one's called the UX. So the task contains this name and the help text, and it contains some information about validation and code which runs with the task. Um, and the schema contains information about what's getting stored in the database. So for instance, the schema would contain the data types of everything in the task, and it contains information about what fields are in the task, and if the field, if a task like has a subtask, it has a list of all of the subtask data associated with it. Finally, there's the UX. The UX is the view, it's what you see. The UX is mostly just the HTML and the title of the page and maybe a description. And although the UX can do some other things as well, that's mostly what it's used for. All right, so I want to actually give you a quick look behind the curtain and look at the database and see what these things are actually stored as. So the first collection in the database we're going to take a quick look at is the task. So as I said, the task is mostly about validation, and we can see it will include some security checks, like if a field is read-only, we want to make sure it's not modified by the client side. Includes stuff like the name. It also has things like task goals. So let's see if we can find one. Here it is. So for instance, this domain field is required, and it has some information about what's shown if the domain field isn't included. You can also see bots are associated with the task, and that includes like the code that's going to be run. I'm not going to go into how bots really work at this time, but the gist of it is this correlates with actual code the system is running. The next important concept is the schema, and we can see the schema is pretty simple. It's just this big list of fields and their help text, and we also have the data type of each field. The UX is also pretty simple. It's almost entirely just this HTML field, which is just the user interface you see when you're working with the task. So that kind of explains, what information we're storing when you create a new task. And if you think about it, when you load a page, even like the home page, what we're really doing is we're loading in the HTML from the UX. And as you make changes, we're checking that against the validation stored in the task. And we're eventually storing all of the information you type in into a document in the database, which follows the schema. Okay, but let's get down to the details. How do you actually, that you're going to be using in day-to-day work, how do you actually create a new task? Well, you're going to want to search for the edit task, and we're going to click on new data. And now we can see the form, well, the task you have to fill out in order to create a new task. So let's just type in here test task for task tutorial. And then we'll see a variety of other options. You can learn more about them if you click on the help. You need to specify an industry and domain to really get the best effect. And we're going to skip past all of these other things, which let you add in information about code. We're going to go down here and we're going to add 2 fields. We're going to call one of them name, and we're going to call the other one description. So obviously there's the name and the help text, which shows up as the name and the help text. There's also the user interface. So this is a text field. This is a multiple line input or a text area. Then you've got select fields like this one, select, and you can add select options. All right, but we have a bunch of other user interface options, and they can let you do everything from uploading files to doing autocomplete for an address. You've also got the validator, and so we've got a variety of interesting validators, and you can check read only to prevent people from being able to make modifications in the UI. And that will show up kind of like this. This UX ID is a read only field, as is this one. And of course you can add subtasks, so tasks underneath the task. We're going to get back to that later. First, let's hit done. Let's just take a look at what we've created. All right, so we have this name field, we have the help text I typed out, and the description, and we have different options for this field. All right, let's talk about how to edit a task. You consider an existing task. All you have to do to edit it is to come down and add a new field. Or add a new subtask. Adding is pretty easy, it's pretty straightforward. On the other hand, removing a field can be a bit more difficult. When you remove a field, you can be redirected to the exact same page with the addition of an immediate simple conversion. What this does is it requests that you do something with the data or with the field that you just deleted. So behind the scenes, all of the data in the system is being stored inside documents. And when you delete a field, what you're essentially doing is deleting the reference to that field in the existing data documents. So for example, if we were to delete a field, we'd need to do something to go through all of the data in the system and to delete that field from all of those different pieces of data. That would be called a conversion. As it explains in this help text, we're able to delete fields values by typing delete into here and then simply pressing done. So now if we were to have data, the value in field 4 would have been deleted from the database. All right, now let's talk about editing a task and changing a field's name. So let's say you created a field with the name field 3, but you realize that's not actually what you wanted to say. Instead, you want to say customer favorite colors. As I just tried to explain, because data is stored in a way that's associated with the field name, changing the field name would mean that you'd be essentially deleting all of the data or deleting your ability to access that data in the system. So we'll generate another conversion. And what you should do is copy this and paste it into here and just change the name to customer favorite colors. Now when I hit done, we'll see customer favorite colors now has the value hi there, which is what I had originally typed in field 3. If we did not take this step and we did not perform this conversion, customer favorite colors would have been emptied out for all of the data in the system, which is probably not what you wanted. Another thing to keep in mind is that it's very possible to rename a field. Press done, and then choose to delete all of the information in that field. We'll see here the new customer favorite colors is now empty. All right, that's the basics of adding additional fields, which was very simple, renaming a field, and deleting a field's value, and deleting a field from the system. If you have any questions about how to create or edit tasks, you're always free to send us an email at support@polyapp.tech, or just add an issue to the GitLab page, or reach out any other way you can. All right, thanks for listening. I hope you have a great day.